So this is a video about charcoal. I'm actually starting a new playlist that I'm going to call Bushcraft Technology, where I'm going to highlight some of the things that we use in the outdoors. Maybe we don't think a lot about the origins of them, different little features, things that interest me anyway. And I'm going to start with charcoal. Charcoal is number one on the list. Making charcoal is definitely a bushcraft skill, and come the zombie apocalypse it'll be a good thing to do also. Great for water filters, writing with it, and of course using it as fuel. And if you want to do any kind of smelting or work metal, charcoal is the only thing, you know, the next step up from wood that will actually get the metal to temperatures where it's workable. Can you hear that? That's monkeys, huh? Different type, it's not howlers. Anyway, so charcoal. The good news is that making charcoal is a piece of cake in small quantities and easily doable with a heat source. Even you can even do it on an alcohol burner, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. You need something that burns a bit longer. So upcoming is a sort of a demo, a visual demo of how to do that. And then after that, we'll do a bit of waffling on. I'll do a bit of waffling on about what I know about charcoal, which might be a little bit more interesting than you might at first think. See you after this segment. Enjoy. So making charcoal these days is easy, very easy for us in small quantities, very handy thing to know how to do. Now it's made commercially on a huge scale, and certainly not the way it used to be made. I know something about the way it was made in Anglo-Saxon times. I'm sure it was made way before then, but there's a lot of information on that. And charcoal making in the countryside was done the same way as it was done in Anglo-Saxon times, right up to very recently, last century. Every village or town would have a charcoal maker, much the same as there would be the village blacksmith. There would be the village charcoal maker, and he was known as a collier. And chances are, if your last name is Coles, Cole, Coleman, Collier, that's whether it's spelled C-O-L-E or C-O-A-L, chances are somewhere back in your history, back in your family history there, your ancestry, is the fella that made the charcoal for the village, and of course supplied the blacksmith, because without charcoal there's no metal work. So the collier generally would live in a little hut away from the main village, because nobody wants to get smoked out for days on end. Bit of a solitary job. There's stories about them creating a special stool, like a two-legged stool to sit on, because they had to stay awake. I don't know how true that is, but but so the story goes. And they watch the smoke. That's the way they monitor how well the burn is going. And they have to make repairs in the soil covering so that oxygen can't get in, and generally tend it. They even have to get up on top of the pile and what they call jump it or something, to make sure that there's no air getting in and things are compressed and there's no collapses. And that process could go on for 5, perhaps 7 days, depending on how large of a load the charcoal maker was making, which is a long time to stay awake and watch wood smoke. I'm sure they take a little nap here and there. Hopefully they had a helper, but so that's it. That's the coalman, the collier, and that process remained unchanged, as I said, right up to the last century. And I found a little bit while looking things up on the internet about in America it was done slightly different. They built a chimney on the inside of the pile and then built the wood pile around that, but not too much different. And this particular place, I'll leave a link in the description. They were making charcoal and producing steel using the charcoal, which is, one was right beside the other, right up until I think it was the 1850s. And it was the last operating steel mill that operated on charcoal that was made in the traditional way. So I'll leave a link to that. I'll also leave a link to another video of some folks making it in the traditional way. So I'm going to include here a diagram, a drawing, an illustration that I found on the charcoal making process. So take a look at that. As you can see, there's a terminology, a very special terminology associated with the exercise, different names for the different parts of that pile. So they would heat the wood up against a post, which had a special name. Then they would cover that with straw or bracken or leaves, and then they would cover that with sod, soil, tamp it all down, pull the peg out from the centre, drop hot coals down the hole in the centre. And the skill of it is to make charcoal. Obviously the fuel for making charcoal is the wood itself, so some of the wood is consumed. So they're saying between 40 to 60% production of charcoal using that method was considered, good. So the skill is to monitor it, to get it going. Once it's going, not to let it run away, and to monitor it while it's burning so that it doesn't all burst into flames and you lose all of your hard work. I should also say that it's not exactly a completely dead art, because I know that in Jamaica, in some places, they still do it that way. I'm pretty sure Grenada, there are places in the country there that they do it. I think that's all I know about charcoal making. If I left anything out, if you think of anything, if you've got anything interesting to say about charcoal, please leave it in the comments, because I love to read the comments and I love arguing about things too, so great. So that's it, charcoal. Thanks for watching. This is the first on the playlist. Next on Bushcraft technology, I will tackle the rivet. See you in the next one. Scout out.